gym, right? And over here in Texas, there's a lot of ice on the road, so the high school kids is out. Now, typically, I'm talking to older gentlemen about things. If they recognize me, we'll get to talking about women, relationships, that kind of thing. But today, I was talking to some high school boys, and one of them, I mean, he's telling me, "Hey, I did this, that, and the other. Me and my girlfriend been together like 3 years." For high school kids, that's like 20. But he said something, man, and this caused kind of a ruckus. He was like, "Yeah, man, when a girl really loves you, she'll never leave you. That's what I've learned." And I mean, he said it with his chest too. And I said, "Look, man, let me tell you something. You may be right. When a girl loves you, she'll never leave you. But when you get to that point where you're dealing with a grown woman, she can love you and still leave you. I promise you that. I promise you that." And the reason why I say that is this, because when you're dealing with a woman, and I think this goes for both men and women, but I've seen this personally play out for women over and over again. When you're dealing with a woman who's had some experiences, more than likely at some point she's been in a relationship where she can no longer afford to be with that man, to love him or receive his love, but at the same time, she couldn't deny that he loved her. Somebody put I in the chat if you've ever been with somebody who hurt you, whether they did something once, did something a couple of times, but you could not deny that at their core, they did love you. Now, that's a hard place to get to, and it's hard for somebody young to understand that. Talk to somebody who's been out of a serious 5-10 year plus relationship, a divorce or something like that, and they'll tell you they had to leave somebody that they loved, and they genuinely think that person loved them, but they no longer could afford to receive that love. They no longer could afford to receive that love because all love ain't good love. In fact, I've always compared love to water. Like love is as good to receive as the vessel that it flows through. Just like water. You know, water is good for you. Your body's 75% water. But if you get water through a dirty, rusty, poisonous pipe, by the time you drink it, it's going to cause damage to you. The same thing goes for love. And when a woman has had those painful experiences, but she's like, "I know you love me, but that's no longer enough to keep me here because I've stayed too long because you love me. But now I have to love myself," which is the next reason why a woman will love you and still leave you. Because at some point, she's going to draw that correlation between how unloving she has to be to herself to receive love from a toxic person. A woman, like it's a frequency thing. Y'all ever been around somebody and you know they get mad at you because you always smiling, you always this, you always that, or somebody who's like, "Oh, you so stuck up because you proud of yourself for something. You doing some big stuff right now. You handling your business." And of course, you're not really, looking down on them. You're not bragging. You just, you got big dreams, big goals. You think big, you're doing big things. You've been executing. You're proud of you. You're celebrating yourself. The reason why they feel like that is because the frequency is off. Based on the relationship they have with themselves, they can't stand to be in your presence because your relationship with yourself is completely different. The same thing goes for in a relationship. Whenever you're dealing with somebody, in order for you to tolerate their toxic treatment, and again, I'm not talking about a one-time instance or something that y'all are working through. I'm talking about ongoing patterns throughout the course of the relationship. If they are toxic, in order for you to tolerate that, in order for you to have the stomach for it, to be able to develop the chin for it, you have to be toxic to yourself. You have to prime yourself to receive that. You have to tell yourself with your internal dialogue that this is all you deserve. So when you receive a person and their love in whatever way that they feel like giving it to you, whatever inconsistency or whatever. Some people say, "Well, that ain't love." I do believe it's love. I just believe we give love too much credit in a romantic sense. But in order to receive that toxic love, you have to be very toxic and unloving to yourself. So when a woman finally says, "You know what? I'm going to love myself," because yeah, it's going to bring some grief, but it's also going to return some peace. I'm going to hurt and I'm going to cry myself to sleep at night, but at least I ain't going to be losing sleep every night. It's going to hurt to lose that familiarity. But I'd rather lose that familiarity than to continue getting comfortable, letting somebody else be comfortable, disrespecting me. And that's really what I tell women who are on that cusp of getting to that point. Those women like mid-20s, they're having some life experiences. They're learning the hard way some things that I usually talk about. And women coming to me and they say, "Well, how do I know when to leave? How do I know if I should stay because we've invested a couple of years, we got a child, whatever the case, or how do I know when to leave?" This is my question, and I'll pose this to y'all as well. What version of you does that relationship bring out? What version of you does that relationship consistently bring out? Again, don't judge this by a week or a month, but when you're in a relationship for a year straight and 10 months out of that year, it's not bringing out the best out of you, it's bringing out the stress in you. Instead of you having mental focus and clarity on your goals, you constantly consumed with thoughts if you're enough, you're confused about your worth. That ain't the relationship for you. I don't care if he loved you or not. Love alone ain't enough. Love alone ain't enough. And honestly, and this is where people really get mad at me. This is just my belief. Y'all put I down in the chat if y'all agree. My belief is if a man is not making your life better or easier, he don't need to be in your life. Put I down in the chat. Somebody put I down in the chat if you agree with me. If a man is not making your life better or easier, and I'm not talking about finances because I know that's what people go to, although that's one aspect. But again, if mentally he's not helping you gain clarity, if emotionally he's not helping you experience higher quality emotions so you have a higher quality of life, if spiritually he's not increasing your strength in whatever your spiritual walk is, if physically he doesn't make you feel safe, if financially he doesn't give you some peace of mind just by having your back, not necessarily carrying you and paying for everything, but just knowing that because of his hard work and his ambition, you're not alone in nothing that you face, even in a financial context. If he's not making your life better or easier, for the most part of the relationship, he don't need to be in your life. And the only reason why a man is going to be in your life when in the general context, he only makes it harder and slows you down and brings you down is because your standards are not high enough. Meaning your self-love is not abundant enough. If he's constantly keeping you stressed and confused and, back and forth and losing important relationships around you and not teaching you anything and not increasing you and no resources for you, but he's just taking from you and trying to see what he can get from you, if that's the case for the most part of the relationship, the problem is not just him anymore. In fact, I would say it's not him at all, because now now you're clear on what he is. Spade is a spade. But because you're not as loving to yourself as you need to be. And maybe you're not loving to yourself in terms of what you believe you can get that's out there. Because I'm going to tell y'all something. There are men out here who have cultivated enough value within themselves. They have plenty of value to contribute to you. These ain't perfect men. These are evolved men. These ain't men who never make mistakes. These are men who are accountable to the mistakes that they make so they don't keep making them over and over again. Evolved men. And the only reason why you're not setting yourself up for an evolved man is because, one, you have not prepared yourself by releasing that which is familiar but toxic, or two, because you don't know the strategies to attract evolved men that thousands of women, tens of thousands of women are out here using. Now, I did a whole separate masterclass on that, secrets to making evolved men crave you. If you want an evolved man and you feel like you're prepared, like you're ready to let go of that toxic person in your life, because don't click on this link if you're not, but if you are, click the link that you see pinned right here in the comments. It's also in the caption whenever you back out. Secrets to making evolved men crave you, because you don't have to go out here chasing down these men, trying to earn a date, trying to prove this, prove that. No, you do have to show some mutual interest, but I go in depth with what evolved men are looking for, the men who have done the work and still doing the work. Click the link that you see pinned down here, and the moderator's already put it down there. Also in the caption whenever you back out. But moral of the story is this: for anybody who's under any other notion, do understand this. When a woman loves herself, she will choose that over the love that you've given her if you force her to only have one. When a woman loves herself, she will choose that and choose to walk away from you, even if she still loves you. But those are just my thoughts. Y'all let me know what you think down in the comments. Share this right now for somebody on your timeline if you got anything from it. And again, if you are in the market for an evolved man, click the link that you see pinned right here in the comments. Also in the caption whenever you back out. All right, get access to that free masterclass over an hour-long, dropping gems. Secrets to making evolved men crave you. I'll let y'all later. Y'all be good. Peace.